Hi, my name is Nicole Cardoza, and I'm from Yoga Foster. I'm here with my friends Bria and Shamira, and together we'll be walking you through a 20-minute yoga practice for kids. Yoga is a fantastic way to come back to the body after a long day of school, or summer school, or hanging out with friends. So let's get started. We'll begin in child's pose. Hips on our heels, foreheads on the mat. And reconnect to ourselves. Take this moment to tap into who you are. Not what you might think you have to be from things you see on social media, or from what your friends might say, or your teachers, or your peers. This practice is for you. Take a moment to drop everything else that you don't need right now into the mat. Relax your arms, your hips. And notice what's left. What's most important. And allow that to carry your breath in through your nose, through the sides of the body, deep into the belly, and then out. Take another big breath in and release. One more deep breath in through the nose, down the sides of the body, and out. This pose is a place for you to come back to at any point in the practice. So if you just want a space to breathe and be, this is yours. When you're ready, we'll move to our hands and knees pose. So draw your shoulders up above your wrists. Press your palms firmly into the mat. Draw your hips right above your knees. And we'll introduce some movement here, bending our backs up and down. We'll take a big breath in and draw our bellies low towards the yoga mat and lift our heads up into cow pose. Breathe in and feel your belly grow big with air. Breathe out and curl your spine up like a cat, drawing the belly up towards the back of the spine. Good, and on your breath, your movement, continue to go back and forth between our cow pose, where our belly hangs low, and our cat pose, where our spines go up and curl towards the sky. Take a couple more of these on your own breath. This pose is really important for offsetting the student slouch that we see when kids are sitting in desks all day. And a great way to warm up the body. Take another big breath in. Big breath out. And then we'll find a neutral spine. So our spines are nice and long and flat like a tabletop. On our next big breath in, draw your right arm up in front of you. Stretch all the way through the side body, through the tips of the fingers. On your exhale, draw your left leg up and back. So we're going to introduce a little bit of balance here. Beautiful. Yoga, the meaning of yoga is togetherness, bringing the body together, a union between body, mind. And sometimes our bodies are moving in two opposite directions, so we have to find out what's at our core, what's most center for us, to be able to maintain that togetherness, even when it feels like we're moving in a million different directions at once. So take a big breath in here, draw your core in, draw your belly in towards the back of your spine, and then release, bring both of your limbs down. On your next inhale, draw the opposite arm and opposite leg up and back. Good, and see if you can stretch and take up as much space as you can here, as if the whole world is yours to stretch. Beautiful. And as you stretch all the way from the tips of the fingers through the heel on that back foot. Beautiful. Take a big breath in and release. Inhale the opposite arm, opposite leg up again, and see how it feels doing it for a second time. Notice how our two sides of our bodies can feel entirely different, and that's okay. This practice is about noticing how we feel, even when things are uncomfortable or strange or unfamiliar, and seeing how we can bring ourselves back to what's core, what's most important to who we are. Release. Take a big breath in. And exhale, extend those arms and legs out to the other side. Beautiful. Even when it gets tense here and different, see if you can keep your breath long and soft. Taking big breaths in through the nose, all the way through the sides, as if you can fill up the space between your limbs. Exhale, bring your arm and leg back down. Tuck your toes. Draw your knees off the mat and bring your hips up and back into downward facing dog pose. Beautiful. In this pose, our goal is to take our hips, our tail of the dog pose, up and back. And if you want to bend your knees to give you a bit more space here, that's totally cool. This is our first downward dog of class, so let's make it an active one. You can bend your knees from side to side, stretch out through the shoulders, nod your head yes or no, and yes again. And notice how it feels to be in this position. Beautiful. Take a big breath in through the nose, fill the sides up with air. Big breath out. Beautiful, another big breath in through the nose and out. We'll move into a still downward dog. We'll straighten both of our legs, drawing our heels back towards the mat, our hips up and back. And then we'll slowly walk our feet towards our hands and come up to stand on the top of our mats. Roll ourselves up slowly until we're fully standing and opening up our palms to either side, just like this. I invite you to close your eyes or lower your gaze and take this moment to remind yourself of what's most important to you, to who you are and who you want to be. It could be a word or a color or a feeling, and allow that to carry you through the rest of today's class. Once you feel it, bring your arms up to either side. Look up towards the sky, lift up and take a big breath in. Big breath out and fold all the way forward, coming over towards your toes. Beautiful. Big breath in, we'll do a half lift. Our heart reaches towards the front of the room. Big breath out, fold forward. Again, big breath in, lift all the way up towards the sky. Reach through the side body and the tips of the fingers. Big breath out, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, heart reaches forward. Exhale, forward fold. We'll hang heavy here. If you notice that you have some tension in the back of your legs, you can bend your knees. Allows you to release over your legs. You may hold opposite arm with opposite hand at your elbows. Sway from side to side. Whatever feels right to you here, whatever allows you to let go. When you're ready, release your arms, come back to standing. From here, we'll move into banana pose. So take a big breath in and bring your arms up to either side. Press your palms together. Inhale and exhale, lean slightly to the right side. In this pose, we're creating a stretch to the left side of our body without squishing our banana on the right side and overextending. So we lead with our heart, lift up and gently stretch to the side. Take a big breath in and come back to center. Exhale, move to the other side, nice and gentle and slow. Draw your belly in towards your back and keep both sides nice and long so we don't have any bruised bananas. Inhale, arms up to either side. Exhale, forward fold. Place your hands onto the mat and walk your feet back into downward facing dog. Inhale and lift your right leg up. Bend the right leg at the knee and open into a three-legged dog pose. Good. Take that right foot and place it right between your hands, coming up into a high lunge. So in this pose, our front leg is bent, with our knee tracking just about at our ankle, and our back leg is straight. The ball of the foot is pressing into the mat, and our heel is lifted. We lift our arms up overhead and stretch all the way through the tips of our fingers, through the side body and our hips. Take a big breath in. Exhale, place both of your hands to either side of your foot, and bring your foot back into downward facing dog. Good. Draw yourself into plank pose, bringing your shoulders right above your knees, shoulders right above your wrist. You can bring your knees to the mat if that feels right for you. Good. And then lower all the way down to the mat, bending your elbows and coming all the way down, so we're releasing our entire body onto the mat. Good. Take a big breath in and lift your chest from the yoga mat, coming into a snake or a cobra pose. So our bellies and our hips are still on the mat. Good, and we extend up through our chest, looking up right in front of us, stretching our chest open. And then when you're ready, exhale and bring your body back into downward facing dog. So our hips are up high, our heels are reaching towards the yoga mat. Great. May I offer an adjustment to you? Okay, so when we're in this pose, we want to have a nice angle to our bodies, almost like a triangle. So I'd like you to walk your feet back just a little bit. Good. And there should be about 2 fists width distance between both feet. So if you can open your feet just a little bit. Beautiful. Good. And if you feel any tension in the back of your legs, you can just bend your knees a little bit. Does that feel good? Awesome. So from downward dog here, take a big breath in through your nose, and a big breath out through your mouth. Beautiful. Another big breath in. Big breath out. Inhale your left leg up. Bend the knee, coming into a tinkle dog pose or three-legged dog pose. Exhale, bring that foot right between your hands to come up to high lunge on the left side. Good. Press all 4 corners of that front foot into the mat. Good. Stretch your knee up and back. Beautiful. You might want to take a little step forward and it'll give you a bit more space. Great. Take a big breath in, lift up through the chest. Exhale, bring your hands back to either side of the foot. Draw your body back into downward facing dog pose. Inhale into plank pose, stacking your shoulders right above your wrists. Good. You can bring your knees down if that feels good. And exhale, lower all the way down to the yoga mat. Beautiful. Once your heart has connected with the mat, take a big breath in and lift your heart up forward. Good. Press your hips into the mat, your feet into the mat. Good. You can untuck your toes. Beautiful. Exhale back into downward facing dog. Great. Big breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Walk your feet towards your hands. And we'll come up to stand at the front of our mats to move into tree pose. And I'll demonstrate for you here. We'll begin by planting both of our feet firmly into the mat. Take a moment to center yourself. Connect back to the core parts of who you are. That's what we're going to root into for our tree pose today. We'll shift our weight into our left foot and draw our right foot right below our knee, pressing it into the side of our shin. We can begin with our hands pressed at our heart center and use this to ground ourselves, pressing as much of our foot as we can into the mat and rooting into what makes us strong and tall. When we're ready, we can bring our branches up over our heads, perhaps to either side, wiggle our fingers like leaves, take a big breath in and grow a little bit taller. Big breath out and firmly root back into the mat. Beautiful. Take a big breath in. Exhale, bring both of your hands to either side, both of your feet back down. I'll repeat on the other side. So whenever you're ready, you can shift your weight into the other foot. Beautiful. Draw that foot right below your knee. Begin with your hands pressed at your heart, and then bloom into whatever tree feels right for you. Perhaps you bend and sway in the breeze. perhaps you find how your branches can go out to the side or down by your sides. So whatever feels right for you in this pose. Good. And notice if it feels different, if it's more difficult to balance here. We have two sides of our bodies and they work completely different from one another, and it's okay. Whenever you're ready, you can come back down, press both of your feet into the ground. Good. Take a big breath in, lift your arms up. Big breath out, forward. Walk your feet back to downward facing dog, and then rest for a moment in child's pose. This is our second child's pose today. It's important to come back here and notice what's changed, what feels different, what might feel different in your body, in your heart. Allow your mind to settle, your body to settle. When you're ready, slowly roll up to sit on your heels. And then draw your feet in front of you for some balancing. We'll move into boat pose, and there's a few ways that we can do this if you want to watch. We'll begin by taking our hands and bringing them right below our knees and shifting our weight back into the top of our sit bones. I lift through my chest, and I allow myself to start balancing on my sit bones, maybe raising one leg up, and maybe raising another. If this feels right to you, you can also extend your arms out to either side. So notice here, we're really connecting to what's core. We're drawing everything that we have right into the center of our bodies and allowing our limbs to be nice and light. I breathe really deeply here. So take a big breath in with me, a big breath out, another big breath in, and then gently bring ourselves back sitting on our mats. From here, we'll move into bridge pose. So plant both of your feet into the mat and draw your backs down onto the mat. Great. From here, you want to walk your feet back just a little bit. So there's just maybe, 5 or 6 inches right between the back of our hips and our heels. Good. Plant all 4 corners of your feet into the mat. Press your palms into the mat. Take a big breath in, and on your breath out, lift your hips up towards the sky. Great. As if we're making a tiny bridge with our bodies. It's almost more like a slide, so our knees are at the highest point, and our shoulders are pressing into the mat, which allows our chest to lift and our heart to lift up and forward. Good. This is also really helpful to practice with a pillow or a block if it becomes difficult to hold up your hips for a couple of breaths. Take one more big breath in here. Exhale, release. Walk your feet out a bit wider than your hips, and then windshield wiper your knees from side to side. Good, just to release our hips after all of that work. They can go in and out or side to side. Beautiful. When you're ready, allow your legs to be still, and we'll move into happy baby pose. So draw your knees in towards your chest, and hold the outsides of your feet with your hands. Great. If this feels inaccessible to you, you can also hold at the shins right here. If you like, if your hands are on the outsides of your feet, you can open up your feet to side, wiggle your legs, and move around as if you're a happy baby, as it's called. You can make faces here, sticking out your tongue, opening your eyes really wide and squeezing them closed, and giving ourselves a full body stretch here. Oftentimes we forget about the role of our face and our hands and our feet in this practice, and happy baby is a really great way to move those parts of our bodies that sometimes we forget about and develop gross motor skills when we're very young. Take one more big breath in here. Exhale, release. Draw your knees into your chest. Wrap your arms on the outside of your shins or right underneath your calves. Give yourself one big hug for doing this class today. And then release into do nothing pose, also known as Savasana. We allow our feet to open up to either side, our legs to relax, our arms to flop open to either side with our palms facing up. This pose is a practice of letting go. So as we're here, notice where you can release. Not just in the muscles in your body, in your arms or your legs or your feet, but what you might be holding on to in your mind that's not a part of who you are or who you're here to be. Allow any fears or hesitations or doubts to melt into the mat or pass like fireflies in the sky. Give them the space to move on. And give yourself the space to be firmly rooted in what's most important to you. I invite you to close your eyes here or soften your gaze. Allow your breath to become slow and light. And allow this moment to be your opportunity to be in your body, to hold your space above all else. I invite you to stay here as long as you'd like. This pose is yours to hold for as long as it feels right for you. When you're ready to move out of this pose, gently roll over to your favorite side, your left side or your right side, drawing your knees into your chest. From here, we'll gently move into a seated position. You can keep your eyes closed, your gaze soft, perhaps cross-legged on your mat. We'll end class by taking one big breath in and big breath out together. Take a big breath in through your nose and let it out. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'd love to hear how this class went for you, so let us know in the comments below. And after class, take a moment to reflect on what are the things that are most important for you. What are the things that you can let go of during the day? And how can you come back to find who you are and who you're here to be? Thank you.